and sick.
All right, joining me now is Georgia State Representative Donna McLeod. Representative, thank you so much for being with us. Why was your colleague, park candidate, arrested? Can you hear me, Representative? Representative, it's John Berman. Can you hear me?
None of us can hear you.
All right. You can hear me?
No, I can't.
All right. Well, there we go. Apparently,
I don't hear anything yet.
The representative cannot hear me. Let's put up on the screen so people can see what is in this law, this new law here. It adds stricter voter ID requirements for absentee ballots. It actually creates voter ID requirements. Before, it just was a signature match. Now you need either a driver's license, a social security number, or other kind of ID. We're told that some 200,000 Georgia voters do not have access to that type of ID. So in that way, it could be restrictive there. You can see some of the other limitations.
Well, this is
there.
the one that you pointed out, that it prohibits the mailing of unsolicited absentee ballot applications.
Yes.
And that's a big one because, as you know, President Trump, this was the one that really got stuck in his craw. He didn't like that. And
ballot drop boxes, it moves them inside early voting locations. Now, the purpose of a drop box in many states is to have it be somewhere you can go by 24 hours a day outside. Leave it there when it's convenient for you. Now you can only go inside an early voting location. All right, here's what we're going to do. While we're waiting,
the governor is signing a bill that affects all Georgians. Why is he doing it in private, and why is he trying to keep elected officials who are representing us out of the process?
You said you give her one more time, like you're going to do something. Are you serious?
No, you are not. Represent.
She's not under arrest.
For what? Under arrest for what? For trying to see something that our governor is doing? Our governor is signing a bill that affects all Georgians.
All right, now, by the grace of God, we are joined by Georgia State Representative Donna McLeod. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for your patience. I hope you can hear me right now. We've now played that video twice of your colleague, Representative Park Cannon, being arrested. Why? Why did that happen?
So this has been, thank you, John, and thank you, everyone that's watching. This has been a very, very difficult session, and the reason why it happened was from sheer disgust about the fact that literally we're going backwards in time rather than forward in time. And my colleague and I are, we've just been so frustrated, and I think Representative Cannon was getting some good trouble, like the former Congressman Lewis said, getting some good trouble. We have nothing to lose if we lose our rights to vote, and we fought so hard for this right to vote. And this is the time, if we're going to stand up, this is the time, this is the moment in time that we're given, and we're going to stand up and fight for what we think is right.
I don't know if you've seen the picture of what I believe was happening on the other side of the door from Representative Cannon. It was the Governor Brian Kemp signing this bill into law, surrounded by 6 white guys. So what does this picture represent to you?
White supremacy. These are a bunch of men that are fearful of change. Right now, you're speaking to me from Gwinnett County. It's the most diverse county in the state of Georgia. It's probably the second most diverse county in the U.S. And that fear has seeped in. And, and this is all manifested on a lie trumped up by Trump. And I think this Jim Crow 2.0 is represented in that picture. You see those men, there's no color in them. There's just pure white males trying to basically hold on to power with their life.
We put up on the screen before, and I'll do it again, some of the things that are now part of this law, creating new voter ID requirements, limit ballot drop boxes. It actually creates partisan oversight of county election boards, and then prohibits people from distributing food or water to election lines. You call the signing of this law white supremacy. How does this law impinge on African American and minority voting rights in your mind?
So I've lived in Gwinnett County, and over the years that we have been growing. Gwinnett County doubled its population. We're almost at probably over 1 million people. We're still waiting for the census. But we have endured lines every single election. This is just going to create more lines because you're not giving people more options to vote. And with longer lines, that means that you're going to have people that will probably not want to vote anymore. We've got to a place where we at least got people to believe in the system, believe in our republic, our representative democracy, our constitutional democracy. And for me, as a person who became a citizen of this country in 2012 and had to take the test and pay for it, for me, this is an abomination. This is despicable and disgusting, and it creates more barriers to our voters, so that they're not having access to the ballot box like they should. And to actually say to people, you can't give somebody food or water, that's just cruel and inhumane.
The bill wasn't as restrictive as it could have been. Other versions of it included cutting back on early voting altogether, making absentee voting, no excuse absentee voting, doing away with it altogether, and also eliminating Sunday voting. That didn't happen. So I wonder what that teaches. How did you keep that from happening? And what does the fact that that wasn't part of the bill tell you?
Well, let me tell you something. This has been a hard-fought battle. We have not let up. The elected officials and advocates, they have showed up to the Capitol. We have made sure that we kept our focus on what was going on. This particular bill was a 2-page document when it crossed over. It is now a 95-page document, and that shows you, and the span of time, when I first heard about it was from my colleague, Representative Rhonda Barneau, and she called me and said, they are stuffing HB 531 and SB 241 into SB 202. Last Thursday, this Thursday, it was signed into law, 1 week. So we've had to scramble, we've had to try to read things quickly. And by the way, the transparency was horrible because we did not have this put on the website until Wednesday of this week, that actually the public could see it.
What's the impact of what will be sort of this legislative, perhaps partisan oversight over the county election boards?
It's devastating because what Trump had called the Secretary of State to do was to basically overturn the election by finding X amount of vote. If you can go to the county level and basically, circumvent them, you can do that very quickly, right? You can get your votes much faster, and you wouldn't have to even call the Secretary of State anymore. You can do it county by county. So this is dangerous. It's dangerous. Mm-hmm. This does not represent a representative democracy.
I want to ask you finally, President Biden yesterday said it's un-American what's being done. What do you want to see from him?
It's un-American, it's unpatriotic, and for those of us that have fought to become citizens of this country, it's despicable. What we're asking for is to really get rid of that filibuster and pass H.R. 1 and Congressman Lewis Voting Rights Act. That's what we want from Congress, and we need it now. We need to make sure that we are protecting the vote. It's the most precious right. Yes, knowledge is the most powerful thing you give to yourself, but the vote is the most powerful thing we give to each other.
Representative Donna McLeod, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you sticking with us. Thank you very much.